Let's talk about Superman and Darkseid's big money rematch. We've already established that Darkseid is a habitual line stepper. And the gall is not sold separately because this man showed up to Clark's place of business. The entire Justice League was looking at the caller ID like, who's this? Clark took one look and said, ain't no way. But where there's someone to be disrespected, there's a way. And Darkseid made his way into the watchtower. Darkseid slyly talking about we meet again, Kal-El, like he just bumped into him in the produce aisle. And I love this scene because it's so real. Superman is looking at Darkseid like, is he doing what I think he's doing? Is he disrespecting me the way I think he's disrespecting me? Yes, he is. Okay, I got the appropriate hello and energy for this man. Superman attacked that man because this is beef on sight. See, Darkseid showed up humming Clark's favorite song, but he wasn't going to sing the hook. He was going to swing it on his face repeatedly. And this is where the Justice League messed up. Batman's like, whoa, hold him back before he knocks the watchtower out of orbit. No, you see your boy swinging on some man. You don't know this man. What you should be doing is jumping this man along with him. See, the X-Men would have did that. Darkseid gets up like, oh, you still mad about when I spun the block on you? Man, that's past stuff. You gotta learn to let that go. Superman lets Darkseid say his piece, and Darkseid tells him, hey, look, your ops, Brainiac, he's on my planet, making shit hot. I don't like that. He on Apocalypse right now, going through my browser history, digging through my passwords. He's in the cloud or something. I can't have that. And you know what he'll do to my planet when he's done. Superman knows exactly what Brainiac will do once he's done going through the browser history of Apocalypse. And he says, yeah, he'll annihilate it. Good. The Justice League is shocked.
Clark,
Yo,
are you petty?
Wow.
Y'all don't know him like I do.
Come on,
Y'all
man.
don't know him like I do. Darkseid's like, all right, man, I'm gonna leave, but if you don't stop him, millions more will perish. I'm gonna just leave you with that. Which way is the door? I'll make my own door. Now the team getting on Clark like, yo, you're gonna let millions die just because you don't like Darkseid? Superman's like, yes. Yes, I would. Did I tell you what happened when I tried to free them? I beat Darkseid's ass and they carried that man and fed him grapes. So fuck Apocalypse. Y'all ain't beef with this man like I beef with this man. Here comes Batman being the voice of reason, talking about we know enough. He brainwashed you. He humiliated you. He paraded you on the hood events escalated throughout the hood. He turned you against Earth and had you doing a bid in an orange jumpsuit on a military base. He made you look so dumb. And right as Superman's about to be like, exactly, Batman gets in his face and says, cry me a river. Superman looked at this man like, yo, you ain't Timberland and I ain't Justin Timberlake, so who you talking to like this? Batman tells Superman, yo, we can't take the chance that this isn't a scheme because millions of lives could really be at risk. So I suggest you get over it. I called Batman the voice of reason earlier. Let me take that back because this is the voice of gaslighting. Superman becomes the bigger man as he puts the beef aside with Darkseid and agrees to help him out. But he makes sure to tell his whole team, hey, I don't like this. Something doesn't feel right. And you should always trust your instincts because Superman was right. Darkseid made a deal to get Superman and bring him to Brainiac. And then Darkseid betrayed Brainiac. It should be noted that this is the realest Superman we've ever got. Because if I was Superman, once Batman freed me, I would have been staring him in the face like, I don't care that things are blowing up around us. I would not have moved until I got my apology. But the fact that when Superman got freed, the first thing he said wasn't, I told you so. It was, where's Darkseid? Batman says, I don't know, which is funny because you know every damn thing apparently. But Batman's stressing that they have to get out of there. Superman's like, okay, yeah, y'all get out of here. I got some unfinished business. So it should be noted that Orion was in the basement of Brainiac's facility fighting Darkseid. Orion put up a good fight, but Darkseid gets him in a bear hug, and Orion ain't the type to tap. But he can take a nap. And as Darkseid's about to walk away, he turns and sees Superman ready to throw hands. Which then makes me wonder, was he just sitting there watching Orion fight this man and not jumping in like, oh no, okay, I'll wait. Superman informs Darkseid at any second now, Brainiac is going to explode. Guess what? You're gonna go with him. Whenever Superman does the dramatic pause, that's your ass. Darkseid takes that information, processes it, then goes for Orion's boom tube. Superman destroys the boom tube, then tells Darkseid, oh no. To get off this rock, you gotta go through me. Now Darkseid starts talking real slick for a guy that was looking for an out for this fight. He got one hand on hip talking sassy to Superman like, yo, you must be into BDSM because I've done beaten you, I've humiliated you, I've humbled you even. What makes you think today's outcome is gonna be any different? Darkseid is clearly ignoring the win-loss record, but that doesn't bother Superman because he's unhinged right now. Superman tells that man, I'm not gonna stop beating you till it looks like I've been eating lasagna with my bare hands. Oh. Superman meant that shit. He said, let's go, and you knew what time it was. Darkseid licked off a shot, but Superman was ready. He hit Darkseid with the flying double fist, not in the fun way. Clark was beating that man something fierce. Clark put all of his back into those swings. My man hit a lunge just to punch dude in the face. This is a different Superman fighting this fight. Clark prepared for this fight mentally. My man is bobbing, he's weaving. This is Mamba mentality Superman, and Darkseid is upset. Ain't nobody else around, but Darkseid knows he's getting embarrassed right now. Darkseid came in for a strong right, but Superman hit him with the Soul Calibur sidestep and caught him in the Taz mission. See, I can tell he's been training with Wonder Woman right here, because that's a kata hajime. Superman got Darkseid feeling like he's in Stu Hart's dungeon, so he's gotta get out of this, which means Omega Beams time. Darkseid then proceeded to drop hurt bombs on Superman that Duke Evers would have been proud of. Superman was eating them hits till he wasn't eating them hits anymore, because those were cherry flavored concussions. Superman's on the ground, and Darkseid tells him, looks like it's time for another lesson in humility, boy. He said boy with a hard B. Meanwhile, the Justice League's escaping, and Wonder Woman's like, hold on, where's Superman? Batman's like, oh, this freaking guy, man. Y'all escape, I'll go back and get him. We cut back to the fight, and Superman is getting disrespected. Superman's getting tossed around like racial slurs from your friend's grandpa faster than your friend can say, it's okay, he's from a different time. Darkseid open hand slaps this man Clark like he owes him money. Like he already done told him not to talk back. Like it's hustle and flow and whoop that trick is playing in his head. Believe it or not, this is the normal amount of disrespect from Darkseid, but then he decides to step it up a notch. He throws Superman down, then checks to see if he's got a foot fetish as he puts boot to face. He tells Superman this is where he belongs, under his heel. He ain't even say good boy before it either. The work is getting nasty, but Clark ain't had enough of the slop yet. This man uses heat vision to burn through dude's boots and take off some toes. And this is where I knew Superman was really training for this beef. My man hits a kip up like Shawn Michaels back in his prime. I'm talking 95 WWF. Superman then proceeded to box that man. Look at the form. There's nothing on this man's mind but the fade. He took a hit, ate that, and came right back. There wasn't a damn thing sweet about this beef. And right when time is slowing down for Darkseid for him to recognize how real Superman is right now, Clark hit this man with an uppercut that would have made Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson, Ken, and Ryu proud. And I'll give Darkseid credit. My man is still trying to get up even though Superman just turned his brain into a strawberry milkshake. And here's where the mama mentality kicks in, because Darkseid's still alive, still kicking, so the job ain't done yet. Ain't no celebrating. Superman sees this and decides to turn his brain into a CTE slushy. Batman runs around the corner and sees the damage like, damn, hey, Superman. Clark turns around and gives Batman this look, cause Superman ain't here right now. He tells Batman to go because he's deading Darkseid now. Batman runs up to him like, yo, Kent, don't be a fool, and gets pushed against the wall because he needs to work on his people skills. Batman's holding his shoulder while Superman informs him that shit is not sweet as he tells Batman, get out of here, now! Clark is about to make Darkseid walk the Green Mile until Batman jumps on him, hits the boom tube, and they both get sucked through the portal. Superman is screaming out, no, I ain't done yet. And the funny part about this is they get sucked into the portal and Orion's body gets sucked into it as well. They weren't even trying to save him. He just had to get saved by accident. As the portal closes, the only thing Darkseid says to himself before the whole place goes up is, bitch boy. We then see the ship go up with Darkseid on it. Later on New Genesis, Superman's staring up into the sky at all the debris from the ship exploding. Batman walks up to him and tells him, hey, ain't nothing could have survived that. Not even Darkseid. Superman says, you know something, Bruce? Turns around, gets in that man's face and tells him, you're not always right. And Superman's right because him and Darkseid are tied for wins right now, which means we're going to need a rubber match.